The warning ignored. Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of the Terran exploration vessel Prometheus, watching the stars shimmer through the reinforced viewing port. Her ship was conducting a routine survey mission along the outer rim of Vim, human territory, mapping new systems for potential colonization. Elena had served in the Terran Federation Navy for 15 years, working her way up from a junior science officer to commanding her own vessel. The Prometheus was not built for combat. It was designed for exploration and peaceful contact with new civilizations. The ship's sensor array suddenly came alive with activity. Lieutenant James Park, the ship's communications officer, looked up from his console with concern written across his young face. "Captain, we're detecting an unknown vessel approaching our position. It's massive, easily 3 times our size, and the design is completely unlike anything in our databases." Elena moved quickly to the tactical station where Commander David Torres was analyzing the incoming data. David had been her first officer for 3 years, and she trusted his judgment completely. His experience as a former military strategist made him invaluable in situations like this. "What are we looking at, David?" she asked, studying the readings on his screen. "It's definitely not human technology, Captain. The ship appears to be constructed from some kind of crystalline material, and the energy signatures are off the charts. Their propulsion system is generating power levels that should be impossible, according to our current understanding of physics." David's voice carried a mixture of excitement and worry. This was humanity's first encounter with an alien civilization, a moment that would change everything. Dr. Marcus Chon, the ship's xenobiologist and cultural specialist, joined them at the tactical station. Marcus had spent his entire career studying the possibility of extraterrestrial life, but he had never expected to encounter it during a routine survey mission. "Captain, we should attempt to establish communication. This could be the most important moment in human history." Elena nodded and returned to her command chair. "Open a communication channel, Lieutenant Park. Let's make history." The main viewing screen flickered and then displayed an image that took everyone's breath away. The alien being that appeared was tall and imposing, with silver-blue skin that seemed to shimmer with its own inner light. Its head was elongated, and 4 golden eyes surveyed the human bridge with an expression of cold calculation. "I am Ambassador Kralfex of the Hegemony Dominion." The alien spoke in perfect English, its voice carrying harmonics that seemed to resonate in their bones. "We have been monitoring your species' expansion into this sector of space. Your presence here violates ancient territorial claims established long before your civilization achieved spaceflight." Elena stood and faced the screen with dignity and composure. "I am Captain Elena Vasquez of the Terran Federation vessel Prometheus. We welcome peaceful contact with your civilization. Our surveys indicated this region was uninhabited, and we meant no intrusion into your territory." The alien's golden eyes seemed to glow brighter with what could only be interpreted as disdain. "Ignorance of our laws does not excuse their violation. Your species has established 14 colonies and systems that belong to the hegemony. You have exactly 48 hours to evacuate all human settlements beyond your original solar system. Any humans remaining after this deadline will be considered hostile occupants and will be eliminated." The bridge fell silent except for the soft hum of the ship's life support systems. Elena could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on her shoulders. She thought of the millions of families living on those colonies, the children who had been born among distant stars, the elderly who had traveled across the galaxy to build new lives. These were not military installations or mining operations. They were homes. Dr. Chun stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overriding his caution. "Ambassador, surely we can reach some kind of diplomatic solution. Our colonies represent generations of human effort and sacrifice. Millions of people have made these worlds their homes. They cannot simply abandon everything they have built. Kralfek's expression did not change, but something in his posture suggested impatience. The hegemony has ruled this galaxy for 12,000 years. We have conquered and absorbed over 2,000 species. Your primitive technology and short lifespans make you unsuitable for negotiation. You will comply with our demands or face the consequences. Elena felt anger rising in her chest, but she kept her voice steady and professional. Ambassador, these colonies house over 8 million human beings. Even if we wanted to evacuate them, the logistics would be impossible in 48 hours. We would need months to organize transport ships and temporary housing. Surely your advanced civilization can understand the practical difficulties involved. Time is not a factor we consider relevant, the alien replied coldly. Your species should have consulted the Galactic Territorial Registry before expanding beyond your birth system. The consequences of your ignorance are not our concern. Marcus had been quietly observing the alien during the entire conversation. Using the ship's bioscanners to analyze Kralfek's physiological responses. What he discovered was fascinating and troubling. The ambassador's stress levels were significantly elevated. His cardiovascular equivalent was racing, and his body temperature had risen steadily since the conversation began. These were not the signs of a confident superior dealing with primitives. These were the signs of fear or extreme nervousness. Elena noticed Marcus's subtle signal and decided to probe deeper. Ambassador, you seem concerned about something beyond simple territorial disputes. Is there something about humanity that troubles your government? For the first time, uncertainty flickered across the alien's features. Your species' reputation precedes you. We have historical records of encounters with humans in other sectors. Your methods of warfare are considered unconventional by civilized standards. Commander Torres exchanged glances with Elena. This was the first indication that the aliens knew more about humans than they had initially revealed. What kind of historical records? Elena asked carefully. Kralfek seemed to realize he had said too much. His composure returned, and his voice became even more formal. That information is classified under hegemony security protocols. Your compliance with our evacuation demands is not optional. Any attempt to resist will result in the deployment of our battle fleets. The communication ended abruptly, and the alien vessel began moving away from the Prometheus at incredible speed. Elena immediately ordered Lieutenant Park to establish emergency communications with Earth Command. A message that would change the course of human history was about to be sent across the stars. Admiral Catherine Walsh received the transmission at Terran Federation headquarters in Geneva. Catherine had served as the head of Federation Defense Forces for 8 years, and she had always known this day might come. The possibility of hostile alien contact had been discussed in classified briefings for decades, but the reality was more terrifying than any simulation. Get me the emergency council, Catherine ordered her aide. Within an hour, the most powerful leaders of humanity were gathered in the secure conference room beneath the Federation building. President Maria Santos, Secretary of Defense Robert Kim, and the heads of all major colonial governments participated via quantum communications. Ladies and gentlemen, Admiral Walsh began. We are facing an ultimatum from an alien empire that claims sovereignty over most of human space. They have given us 48 hours to evacuate all colonies beyond our solar system, or they will use military force to remove us. The room erupted in angry voices. Governor Lisa Chun of New Shanghai Colony was the first to speak clearly. Admiral, my world has 3 million inhabitants. We have cities, universities, hospitals, entire generations of people who have never seen Earth. We cannot abandon our homes because some aliens claim ancient territorial rights. President Santos raised her hand for silence. What do we know about their military capabilities, Admiral? Preliminary analysis suggests they possess technology significantly more advanced than ours. Their ships are larger, their weapons appear to be energy-based, and their propulsion systems operate on principles we don't fully understand. In a conventional military engagement, we would be severely outmatched. Defense Secretary Kim leaned forward. What about unconventional engagement? Humans have never been known for fighting conventionally. Admiral Walsh allowed herself a small smile. That's exactly what I was hoping you would ask. Mr. Secretary, our species has one advantage that no amount of advanced technology can overcome. We adapt, we improvise. We refuse to give up, even when the odds are impossible. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, the Federation's chief military strategist, had been quietly reviewing intelligence reports during the discussion. Admiral, there's something else to consider. The alien ambassador showed signs of extreme stress during his conversation with Captain Vasquez. If they're so superior, why are they nervous about dealing with us? The question hung in the air like a challenge. Admiral Walsh stood and walked to the large display showing the positions of all human colonies. Because they know something about us that we're just beginning to understand ourselves. When humans are backed into a corner with no escape, we become something that even advanced alien civilizations have learned to fear. President Santos called for a vote. The decision was unanimous. Humanity would not abandon their colonies. They would stand and fight, regardless of the odds. A message was sent to every human world simultaneously. Prepare for war. Show the galaxy what humans are capable of when they have nothing left to lose. On the bridge of the Prometheus, Captain Vasquez received Earth's response with a mixture of pride and terror. She knew they were about to face an enemy with superior technology and numbers. But she also knew that humans had survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and the hostile environment of space. They would find a way to survive this too. The countdown had begun. In less than 48 hours, the hegemony would learn why ancient records throughout the galaxy contained warnings about a species from a small blue planet. They would discover that humans did not fight to win battles. They fought to protect their families. And that made them the most dangerous enemy any civilization could face. Asterisk. The price of underestimation. The hegemony battle fleet arrived exactly 48 hours after Ambassador Kralthek's ultimatum expired. High Admiral Zethmer commanded the armada from his flagship, the Eternal Dominance, a massive crystalline vessel that dwarfed anything in the human fleet. Behind him, 300 warships arranged themselves in perfect geometric formations, their hulls gleaming with the accumulated power of 1,000 conquered worlds. Zethmer had served the hegemony for over 2 centuries, personally overseeing the subjugation of 43 different species. This should have been another routine enforcement action. Commander Sarah Blake stood in the command center of Titan Station, humanity's primary military installation in the outer colonies. Sarah had spent her entire career preparing for threats that existed only in theory and computer simulations. Now she faced the reality of defending human civilization against an enemy with overwhelming technological superiority. Around her, officers coordinated the movements of Earth's combined fleet, 200 ships that represented humanity's entire military capability. Admiral Zethmore, Sarah transmitted to the alien flagship. This is Commander Blake of the Terran. Defense Force, you are entering sovereign human territory. We ask that you withdraw your forces and allow diplomatic negotiations to proceed. The alien's response appeared on the main screen, his 4 golden eyes reflecting centuries of absolute authority. Commander Blake, your species has had ample time to comply with hegemony demands. Your continued presence in our territory constitutes an act of war. Surrender now, and your people will be relocated to a single world under hegemony supervision. Sarah felt the weight of 8 million human souls depending on her decisions. Behind her, Tactical officers monitored the positions of civilian evacuation ships, cargo haulers, and mining vessels that had been hastily converted for combat support. "Admiral, we cannot accept those terms. These worlds are our homes. If you want them, you'll have to fight for every single one." Zethmer's expression showed genuine puzzlement. In his long experience, inferior species always surrendered when faced with the full might of the hegemony fleet. The fact that these humans were refusing to acknowledge reality was both amusing and irritating. "Very well. You have chosen extinction. Attack." The hegemony fleet opened fire with weapons that could shatter moons. Beams of concentrated energy lanced across space toward the human defensive positions. Several human ships were destroyed in the opening moments, their hulls vaporized by alien technology. But the remaining human vessels did not retreat or surrender as expected. Instead, they scattered in all directions, using tactics that violated every principle of civilized space warfare. Engineer Tom Rodriguez had spent the last 48 hours working with mining companies throughout the outer colonies, converting industrial equipment into improvised weapons. Tom was a genius with mechanical systems, able to see potential in machinery that others dismissed as obsolete. The asteroid mining platforms that dotted the outer system had been equipped with mass drivers designed to launch raw materials toward processing stations. With modifications, these same devices could launch projectiles at velocities that no known shield technology could stop. "All mining platforms. This is Rodriguez." Tom broadcast from his control station on Ceres base. "You are weapons free. Show these aliens what human ingenuity looks like." Throughout the asteroid belt, mining platforms that had been building human civilization for decades became instruments of war. Chunks of refined metal, each one weighing several tons, began accelerating toward the hegemony fleet at significant fractions of light speed. Admiral Zethmer watched in disbelief as his advanced warships were damaged by what appeared to be primitive projectile weapons. The hegemony's energy shields were designed to deflect plasma beams and particle cannons, not solid matter moving at such incredible velocities. "Science officer, explain how these primitives are penetrating our defenses." "Admiral," the science officer replied with obvious confusion, "they are using kinetic projectiles. No civilized species has employed such crude weapons in over 5,000 years. Our shield systems were never designed to stop physical objects." On New Angeles colony, Governor Patricia Reeves was coordinating the civilian defense effort with the determination of someone who had nothing left to lose. Patricia had been a logistics coordinator before being elected governor, and she understood, better than anyone, how to move resources efficiently. Under her direction, cargo haulers and transport ships were being loaded with construction equipment, farming machinery, and industrial robots, all of which could be used as weapons with the right modifications. "Remember," Patricia broadcast to the civilian fleet, "we're not soldiers, but we're not helpless either. Use everything you've learned building these worlds to defend them. Show the galaxy that humans don't give up." The civilian ships joined the battle in ways that completely baffled the hegemony commanders. Construction mechs designed for building space stations grappled with alien fighter craft, crushing them with industrial manipulator arms. Agricultural processing ships released clouds of modified fertilizer that corroded alien hull materials. Even luxury passenger liners contributed to the effort, using their powerful communication arrays to jam alien coordination frequencies. Elena Vasquez had retrofitted the Prometheus with every weapon system Tom Rodriguez could design. Her exploration vessel now carried a mixture of mining charges, construction lasers, and improvised railguns that turned scientific instruments into tools of war. Elena led a squadron of converted civilian ships against a hegemony battle group, using hit-and-run tactics that took advantage of their superior knowledge of local space. Remember, Elena told her squadron. "We know this territory better than they do. Use the asteroid fields. Hide behind the gas giants' rings. Make them chase us through the comet trails. They might have better ships, but this is our home." Dr. Marcus Chun had discovered something crucial while analyzing captured hegemony communication equipment. The aliens' computer systems were incredibly advanced, but also incredibly centralized. Every ship in their fleet was connected to a central coordination network that allowed for perfect tactical synchronization. It was also the fleet's greatest weakness. Working with a team of human computer specialists, Marcus developed a virus, specifically designed to exploit vulnerabilities in the hegemony network. The virus would not destroy their systems. Instead, it would introduce subtle errors in their targeting computers and navigation systems. In a battle where precision was everything, even small mistakes could be catastrophic. "Sarah," Marcus reported to Commander Blake, "we're ready to deploy the virus. It should spread through their entire fleet within minutes of initial contact." The virus was uploaded through a captured hegemony communication drone that had been reprogrammed by human technicians. Within moments of entering the alien network, it began spreading chaos throughout the enemy fleet. Hegemony ships suddenly found their weapons firing on their own allies, their navigation systems sending them into collision courses, and their communication arrays broadcasting random noise instead of tactical data. Admiral Zethmer watched his perfect formations dissolve into chaos as his ships began destroying each other. "What is happening?" he demanded from his science officer. "Admiral, our computer systems are being attacked by some kind of information weapon. The humans have somehow infiltrated our networks and are causing systematic malfunctions throughout the fleet." The tide of battle began to turn as human ingenuity proved more valuable than advanced technology. Hegemony ships, designed for fighting conventional enemies with conventional tactics, found themselves unable to adapt to the chaotic and improvised nature of human warfare. They had prepared for a battle of superior firepower. Instead, they faced an enemy that turned everything in their environment into a weapon. Captain Maria Santos, commanding the converted cargo hauler New Hope, used her ship's magnetic grappling systems to capture alien fighter craft and fling them into larger enemy vessels. Her crew, composed entirely of dock workers and cargo handlers, fought with the determination of people defending their family's future. "This is for my daughter's classroom on Europa," Maria announced as she launched another captured fighter into an enemy cruiser. "And this is for my son's baseball field on Titan." The battle had become personal for every human involved, and that personal investment gave them a strength that the hegemony could not understand or counter. The final blow came when engineer Tom Rodriguez successfully converted the main mass driver on Hon-Hor Vesta Station into a weapon capable of launching multi-ton projectiles at near-light speed. The massive installation, originally built to send processed materials to Earth, fired a single shot that penetrated the shields of the Eternal Dominance and caused catastrophic damage to the flagship's main reactor. Admiral Zethmer, facing the destruction of his flagship and the collapse of his fleet's coordination, made a decision that would haunt the hegemony for generations. "All ships retreat to jump distance. We are withdrawing from this system." The human fleet, battered but victorious, watched in amazement as the mighty hegemony armada fled from the battlefield. They had achieved the impossible, defeating an enemy with superior technology through sheer determination and creative thinking. Commander Sarah Blake stood in the damaged control center of Titan Station, surrounded by the cheers of her officers and the jubilation of 8 million human colonists, who had just learned they would keep their homes. But she knew this victory was just the beginning. Word of humanity's resistance would spread throughout the galaxy, and other species would take notice of the small civilization that had made the mighty hegemony retreat. In the weeks that followed, Ambassador Kralfex would file a report with the Hegemony High Council that would change galactic politics forever. "The humans," he wrote, "do not fight like civilized beings. They use their entire environment as a weapon. They turn their civilians into combatants, and they refuse to accept defeat, even when facing impossible odds. They are more dangerous than any species we have encountered." The report concluded with a recommendation that would echo through hegemony policy for centuries to come. Avoid contact with humans. Do not attempt to conquer or control them. They are unpredictable, adaptable, and willing to sacrifice everything to protect what they consider theirs. The price of underestimating them is too high for the hegemony to pay, humanity had announced. Its presence to the galaxy, not through diplomacy or trade, but through an act of defiance that proved their worth as a spacefaring civilization. They had shown that advanced technology could not replace the human spirit, and that sometimes the greatest victories came from refusing to accept defeat. The galaxy would remember the day that humans first said no to an empire and won. Asterisk.